Yeah. Yo guys, we're here in Sentosa, Singapore. I'm here with Prince Gwen Swift in this episode, so check it out.
Check it out, check it out.
Okay, I'm reloaded.
Peace everybody, my name is Kenny, they call me Ken Swift. I'm from the Upper West Side of Manhattan. I'm considered a second generation b-boy from New York City. Started in 1978, and I'm considered also a practitioner of the whole culture of hip hop, and I represent, of course, the Young City Boys, the Rocksteady Crew, and Seven Gems. Well, let's reflect on, in my experience being a young kid, we didn't have these conversations and questions. We heard words and we used those words to relate to what we were doing. So to ask that question now in 2019, there's a lot of things that have changed, and there's a lot of literature and there's a lot of opinions. So to be authentic about my experience, there's two things that really resonate for me when it comes to it. First of all, the word b-boy to me was a cool word when I first heard it. Now, I'm not from 73 or 72, I'm from 78. And when I got into underground hip hop, it wasn't even called hip hop yet. When I got into the culture, I got into it through writing, through wall writing, you know what I'm saying? To tagging and hitting and piecing and going to the subway trains and the tunnels and doing our thing. And I, stumbled upon a brother of mine that was getting down with DJing and had some tapes. So that whole process is really interesting because I was charting new territory and I wasn't thinking too much about terminology. I was just saying, what's that? That's that rockin' shit, or that's that b-boy shit. All right, cool. But it was more about practice rather than having conversations about particulars. So these conversations now are interesting because I couldn't tell you what I thought when I was 12, but right now I can say this to you. I can say that what I do is I break at certain parts of the music which are considered the breaks. You know what I'm saying? So it really relates to me because I DJ'd before I was a b-boy. I was first a writer, second a DJ, third an MC, and the last thing I did was breaking. So with those three things that are resonating in my head and just going around my brain and understanding the concept of cutting a break, when I was introduced to the dance and understood that it happened at a certain point, the break, on the break, that meant everything fell into place, kind of. So breaking to me can be a catch-all terminology for each element. I could be breaking on you just with my pumps and arrows on my piece, so I could be breaking on you, what I'm saying, going off on you, etc. on the turntables, on the mic, whatever. I could break on you, what I'm saying. So that could be argued. As a b-boy, I'm always going to relate to breaking as the dance that we do. Because if you break, you're getting down, you rocking, all these words are all over the place. But when you say b-boy, I've always been a part of the tradition that says b-boy is a break boy. And of course, we know in literature, and we know with the pioneers that, and the historians, not historians, but the elders, they can say that means Bronx boy. That can say the best boys. That could be, it could be whatever. It could be the bus boys. So, but once again, rather than speak about somewhere where I'm not from, in my tradition of my history, after I started, I relate to breaking as the dance. And b-boys do it, and b-girls do it. So you're breaking. When a girl breaks, she's not b-boying, she's b-girling. You know what I'm saying? So, wordplay is interesting internationally because if people listen to words, they copy words. So to answer your question, breaking to me is the dance that I do, as a b-boy. Coming up, you watched and you learned. And if you ask questions, you might be considered like someone might son you, treat you like a little scrub, put you under the wing and shit, and now you really don't have your own identity. You got someone else that's over you. And a lot of young brothers and sisters were cool with that. You know what I'm saying? To be like, yo, teach me. I come from this situation where I was so nervous about the first times I saw her that I was really I had a lot of questions in my head that couldn't be answered. I couldn't ask the questions because I understood the street. I wasn't trying to start asking people questions. that means you're not hip. You're not down. You're not hip to what's happening. And you know, in the street, you got to act as if. You got to act like you know. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't, people going to take advantage of you. You know, they're going to prey on you. So they may not prey on you, but, you know, they'll be like, oh, they'll put you in a place, you know, in a category. So the best learning tool for me was just being in the mix and learning. So with that being said, on behalf of your question, a new person coming in the game, it has to just jump in the fire. You jump in the fire, keep your ears open, and just examine everything. That's the really raw thing to it, because a teacher can teach you in a classroom, right? But not everybody that's a great dancer is a great teacher. And some of the greatest teachers don't know how to teach in a studio, but their teaching is just by watching them, by dancing with them, going out and seeing them in the environment. That teaching method is silent, but there's so much powerful essence to that, because you have to figure it out. You know, you have to figure out what's happening. You know, and as an educator and as a person that works with people in studios, you know, I understand that. I have a little bit of ability to have a classroom structure. I can do that. Half my friends that are way better than me in dancing, they're older, some of them older, they wouldn't know how to start a class. And some people might say, don't get that dude, man, he's not a good teacher. And they'll shuffle these people out of the equation on the internet and in the world. But yet, being around them and just hanging out with them, the wealth of information you learn that you have to absorb and compute in your own mind is priceless, because that defines you. If you ask all these questions and you get all these answers from somebody, you understand the connection with that? But if you answer the questions yourself and say, man, I gotta figure this shit out right now. I ain't gonna ask nobody shit, but I wanna be down with this shit and I'm gonna be in this shit. It's a whole different ballgame, because then you start structuring your character and your personality and who you are as a person. Your identity is what they call it. It's just a lot of that. This question is concerns and requires so much thought, and it shouldn't. You shouldn't have to ask yourself if you are. That's not the important side of it. The important side of it is coming into an environment in a community, improving yourself, and working hard to make a name for yourself. That's where it's all at. And you don't have to be told. People will tell you. You don't have to ask. People could, yo, my man, you killed it, man. You know what I'm saying? You'd be like, oh shit, really? Like, you start, if you put that work in and you commit and you just get in there and you deal with the L's and the wins and the losses, and you deal with the humiliation of what this really is, that's the learning process. So I think that young people around the world shouldn't have to really put too much confusion and thought in that to wonder about that. What I would say is you need to do your homework and your research. 7 Gems, you know, when I started 7 Gems, it was about that underground, beneath the surface, the gems of information that you won't hear on the surface. In order to understand things and learn things and know about things and overstand things, like people say, you gotta dig deep. You gotta do that research, and you can't just skim the surface. So the homework is to really understand where this came from, to really appreciate the elders, listen to their stories, not the internet only, you know, like really get out and meet people, you know, because if you read 10 books, you might take something really good out of one of them and really figure it out from that one book. And you may have 10 books that question one specific thing, but if 5 of them or 7 of them kind of start gearing in the same direction, as a person, you start saying, well, I guess that's actually what happened, not this filtered, watered down shit that some person that's not from the hood wrote, you know what I'm saying, that never wrote, you know, maybe these guys are right. But the problem is a lot of us that are practitioners don't have these books. And a lot of people that have PhDs have these books. Yeah. And that's no disrespect. And peace to a PhD, you know what I mean? Now, the new school to me is the old school. It has to be. You can't, anything that's new that wants to say it's a part of hip hop, the quest and the objective and the rule is to study the elders and study the people that came before you. That's just the rule. It's like, it can't be one or the other. Now, when it's one and the other, it's hatred. And the old can be hateful to the new, but the new they don't have to be in that world. The new can look at something back that happened already and really get a glimpse of it and get the information from it. That won't change. An older person now that can talk can change. He could change the whole story right now and fuck your whole head up. And that's what a lot of elders do online. They start claiming shit. All these elders from New York, they start claiming it, so they confuse the new generation. So I understand when the new generation gets frustrated with the old generation. But that you cannot generalize a whole community of people. If there's an asshole in the world, call him out. Just say his name. Don't say the old school is fucked up. Say this dude is fucked up. The old school created this shit. This shit would not be here without these people that committed, even assholes. They committed. But we have to identify with people that are going to be sincere and honest and true. And half of them, no, 80% of the people that are not on the internet. And they left this a long time ago. And their commitments are those commitments, but they moved on in their lives. The people, the 20% that are pushing themselves on all of us on the internet are the ones that did not do what they did. Now, and I hope you're listening to me. And I hope the audience is going to listen to this. A lot of people that pump their names very hard online, it's because they never got that recognition when the time mattered. But now they have a platform and they reach a lot of people. So be careful what you read and listen to in these interviews because, you know, sometimes it's not accurate, you know. When you're a young person with a lot of fire and aggression and passion, I don't expect you to be a humble, honorable man or woman. You know, you're going to be who you are, but at some point there has to be a point where you say, you know, I want to share this, you know, or maybe I want to be a teacher. And then that becomes this whole part of it that says, now people are watching me, so I got to be careful what I do, careful what I say. I don't want to be that dude saying, fuck you, judges, and all you know, like I want to adjust my life and say, well, that's fine, I did that, or it's okay to do that, but I don't want to do that right now. And now what is my commitment going to be? And then you have to really honor the elders. You have to always say, look, young brother, young sister, look, this is where you can find information about these dudes and these people. Read this book, look at this movie. It's going to give you a little insight of where this came from, because if you don't really understand the struggle that this dance has been through and the culture has been through from its inception, you won't understand the possibilities of where it can go, because it still exists. It's not over. You know, and if you want to be a part of it, what can you bring to the game? You can bring yourself and you can make a name and make the community say that dude was great or that girl was so great. But also, what can you do for the future of this culture? And those are the important aspects. I think that when you have the ability to say, damn, I have a platform and I want to use it right, that's the business. That's the business. Well, I'm going to give myself some credit and say that I would have figured it out. I don't know what I would have done, but I would have figured it out. I would have been very careful about things. Now, I'm saying that as a thug, as a person that did a lot of bad things in the street and hung out with a lot of bad people. I'll tell you with conviction, I could have been in jail or dead, or, you know, an addict to this day, you know, and that's the easy way out. Yo, I could have been dead, you know, that's that whole shit you want to hear. But I was smart, and a lot of my friends got locked up. A lot of my friends got in a lot of trouble, and I did too. But I always figured out a way to really. I've always felt like I'm smart, and I'm a little savvy, and I knew I saw the signs, and I was like, don't say that, don't stay away from that motherfucker, you know, like, so I chose my chess pieces wisely, you know, and so I think I would have survived. At that time in my life, I was just going to school. I was into sports. Now, I might have been an athlete. I really loved baseball. I was really hardcore into baseball. I played football. I played touch football, I played contact football, junior varsity football. You know, I played baseball, you know, Bronx and Manhattan. And me and my brothers, you know, we were into sports. My mom was trying to get us busy on the weekends, and we found ways to occupy our time in the hood, playing sports, playing street games and all that. So sports would have been something. If I would have stayed in school, I would have started, I think I would have started in you know, the last years of high school, thinking about probably how can I further my sports career, and would have tried to consider going to college, you know. Now, who knows? I mean, would that have worked? I don't know, because I was good, but I wasn't that good. I was 5'5", I was a pitcher, you know, I was a quarterback. So things were against me. I was short. Quarterback, you got to be really good to be a quarterback and short. And to be a pitcher, you have to have velocity. So my velocity wasn't there, but I was good. I was accurate. So it could have been, maybe it wouldn't have. We can't fill in the blanks for that. But I think the mind that I had was a physical mind, a creative physical mind, and that may have been the direction. Because I didn't have a trade. I was like, I want to be a carpenter. I didn't, there was nothing that stood out in my mind at that age. Because everybody's lost. At that time, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. When I was a kid, I thought what I wanted to be as a kid was a race car driver. That was my dream. I want to be a race car driver. So, Peace, everybody. What's up? Ken Swift over here. You know what I'm saying? Chilling out. Radikal Forze Jam 2019. You know what I'm saying? I want to give a big shout out to Break to Teach. You know what I'm saying? Spreading information and love and culture to the world. Keep doing what you're doing. Peace from hip hop culture, universal hip hop culture. One love. Ken out.